Ever see synchronized droids? Now you will. Oh, pre-show stuff going on. Been working on this guy for over a decade. This is a R2Q5 radio controlled Imperial Black R2D2. And I have them synced with R5D4 so I can control both of them if I wanted to. So both domes will turn at the same time, and the arm. Stuck a little bit. I put the skin on him since the last show. He has these magnetic doors here, and these are very good magnets. Where these open up, and these open and close for weapons to come out, and then they have these little micro magnets, and there's really tiny magnets that are glued into the inside of this. It's a lot of work. There's thousands of little parts, and then it magnetically sticks on that, and then this opens up. It takes two of these controllers to operate him. So I'm working on the different weapon bays. I had this working for a long time, and then I took him apart in 2017 to do these upgrades. And then I started drinking some beer, and then I started drinking some more beer, and then this thing sat for about 5 years while I drank some beer. And then I missed him, so I put him together on my birthday last week or so. And I've always wanted the drink tray. And nobody has anything like this. This is a door that opens up in the back, and that's where the power switch is. All right. He weighs 250 pounds. He'll move furniture. And he's very responsive. He has a range of about 6 miles. And if you wonder, this is all aluminum too, this entire droid. Every piece on here is aluminum, custom machined. If you wonder what this cost, I don't know, maybe like 20 or 30, 15,000 was the price back in 2000s. And right now he would probably cost $20,000 if you try to make something like that. That's cool. There's a little pre-show intro on the droids. I'm Tom King. This is 4K Skywatching. Let's get this show. Let's get this show on the road.
Red alert!
Hey, that's it. I'm Tom King. It's Friday, July 11th, 2025, episode 30 of 4K Skywatch, and thanks for being here. Hot fucking week this week. It was 118 the other day. This is episode 30. Hard to believe that I've done 30 of these already. But 30 of these shows under the belts. Started out pretty fucked up, pretty shitty. I got most of the stuff down now, usually a few audio hiccups and whatnot. Feel pretty good. I've been running about 6 miles a day, about 6 days a week, so that keeps the blood pumping. And working on the droids here on and off when I'm not working on my real job. I'm a programmer, a full stack developer. I build servers from everything as far as building the server, putting an operating system on it, programming the entire whatever you need from the front end, the back end, the databases, everything. So I do from graphics to different types of databases, different languages. I've been doing programming since I was 14 years old in '84. Doing this a long goddamn time, and I work from home. So if I work here, I'm going to make it as fun as possible if I'm going to be in this room for a good deal of my life. So tonight is another intense episode with footage. I think almost every episode I've done, there's new footage or something where I've collected something that either I shot or another 4K Skywatcher shot. And I do the best I can to vet this stuff so I don't show you phony crap. But it does happen. There's going to be a few clips tonight later on, which I don't know if they're real or not, and if I can vouch for them or not. But we're going to take a look at them. But there is some stuff on the show that I do know is real. Tonight we're going to look at some new videos from Kris Donald. I think they were shot this week. And I had some time to analyze them. Then from there we're going to get into some other orbs. Because I'm trying to look for other orbs like his to see if we have a validation type thing. FCC Response. I got a response from the FCC about the radar. And you're going to hear about that tonight. And then we're going to get into the UFO circus news that's going on. This is a no bullshit zone. There's no bullshit here. You get that absolute truth out of my mouth as best as I know it. I'm not going to hide things or gatekeep anything from anybody. I'm going to tell you straight up how it is. Even if I end up having some egg in my face, you take it sometimes. Sometimes that's ufology. If you're in this for a long time, you're going to have cases blow apart on you. You have to admit that, move on, and not try to salvage them. So this is going to be another good show tonight. True Seeker, thanks for showing up. Had some problems. I had some problems with my NVR. For some reason, this thing was not working, and it was not showing me the stuff. On the NVR, switched all the thermals to white hot. The center thermal is now the UFODAP studying camera. And I'm trying to use the 2K dome camera in UFODAP too. So I've been trying to go through kind of a list of things to do. I think Monday and Tuesday I did UFODAP days, so I had 2 cameras running. Then I went back and looked through the footage. I looked through all of the footage from the UFODAP thermal. We're talking hundreds of folders, hundreds and hundreds of folders. I was on Spaced Out Radio last Saturday with Rob G. He's a great host. So checked out what Rob was doing. We looked at some stuff. I mentioned I can pull these UFOs out of the sky. And let me clarify a little bit more about what that means. When I'm setting up the UFODAP capture system and it's running, it's capturing what's going by the camera, and it labels them and puts them in folders. These folders are then up for review, so you have to pull them out. You have to go to these folders. I can pull out helicopters, I can pull out airplanes, I can pull out birds, balloons, looking for UAP. So that's what I mean by pulling them out of the sky. I kind of misspoke. I'm pulling them off the drive that saves them. And so when you're running this UFODAP type thing, you could have stuff sitting there in folders and you don't even know it until you go through them. And a lot of people just say, screw it, and they delete them. They start looking for more captures. And the cool thing about UFODAP, a lot of people don't know, is you can run it on previously recorded videos.
So if you have a camera, we talked about this a little bit on Spaced Out Radio. If you have a camera and you're just recording the sky for a few hours, you could save this and then have UFODAP run it. Even if you can't get UFODAP to look through your device live, you can run it after the fact and scan through that footage. That way you don't have to sit there and watch 8 hours of footage. UFODAP will do it for you. Hey, T-Fox, good to see you. You're pretty much a good regular. Tonight's going to be a good show. I'm not sure what the hell order I'm going to show you guys this stuff. Hey, cheeky bastard, how you doing? Here's the reason. We're going to get into some orb footage. And if the order I show it to is going to affect how you think about it. Like if I show you certain videos first, what's going to happen is the normal thing that happens in your mind is you're going to sit here going, what could that be? Is my audio good, by the way? I did test before. I'm going back to older bike. The other one didn't work too good. But you're going to sit back and you're going to go, what the hell could this be? That's what we all do when we watch footage. A lot of times, if it's a really, really good footage, you know it instantly. It's a UFO, UAP. And if it's kind of on the fence, you're going, it's got to be, and you're sitting there chewing in your mind, thinking what man-made or you know, what mundane solution this could be. So the order of these orb videos will do that. This might hurt your brain a little bit, depending on, if you're closed-minded, you're not even going to think these are UAPs at all. You're going to think it's a hoax. I tell you one thing, Kris Donald doesn't hoax anything. This guy is one hell of a sky watcher. He's way outdone me. He shoots more stuff in 2024 and 2025 that I could even dream of. He does it on his phone or a psionics. I'm slowly coming around to psionics. So I'm open-minded, even though I kind of, you know, pissed all over him a little bit. Hey, Dan. Yes, Dan. Dan's here. Dan and Chris went for a helicopter ride just over a week ago to Sedona. And if there's only 2 seats left in the helicopter, and Dan's going, the other seats got to go to Chris if possible, because Chris is more of a UFO magnet than I am. And he's got happy karma, and everywhere he goes, it's like fucking glitter and rainbows and shit. And, you know, he's another veteran of the military. A lot of footage that is being recorded is by our vets. So that's pretty cool. And I don't know why. I've had people tell me all the time that there's something about me that the UFOs are attracted to. And they pretty much downplay it and say, no, I'm just another dude, man. Just like you guys. I just look more. I spend more of my blood and treasure on this stuff than most people. But then I got to do the same thing with Chris. Chris, you're a magnet, so I got to tell him he's a magnet like people tell me, and he probably denies it too. But we're going to look at some stuff Chris got. I don't know what to think of it, but we're going to just kind of get into it. So, yeah, T-Fox, I try to check out the UFODAP Discord and help anybody who needs help on there. One guy who helped me, and I don't even know if it was you, to help me get to thermal up and running, because thermal is hard to get running in UFODAP, he would drink coffee every morning and look through his folders. Nope. Because I just look through them. Nope, delete. Nope, delete. Nope, delete. Oh, there's one, save it. And things like that. So yeah, UFODAP people can get used to looking through hundreds and hundreds of photos. UFODAP, hooking that up is not plug and play. It's plug and pray. You got to get your new camera initialized. After it's initialized, you have to get on the same network with it. If it doesn't come up and you can't see it in a browser, you're not on the same network. If it pops up in a browser and you can log in, then the next step is to get OTDAU, Optical Tracking Data Acquisition Unit, so OTDAU, to talk to the camera. And then from there, there's all kinds of stuff. Once it's working, it's great. And once you get it working, it's kind of like the devil's magic. But sometimes I tell people it's powered off voodoo, because I write software, right? And I love software because it either works or it don't. And if it don't work, you didn't program it right. You didn't code it right. If you write it really good, it's bulletproof. UFODAP That's powered by fucking voodoo sometimes. Sometimes it just works, and then you come back and you turn it on. It's like, why is this not working? All I did was go to sleep. So it's weird. But we're lucky we have it. So God bless Ronald for programming it. So I'm going to get into, we're going to get into step 1 tonight, which is going to be some new footage that Kris has. I searched the web. I didn't have too much time this week looking for the best orb footage I could find to compare it to Kris's. It's pretty hard to find because, like, Kris's stuff is siloed off on his social media. A couple of my videos are on here. And there's producers that watch my show so they can be aware of his content. But a lot of stuff is just siloed off in social media, and you can't find it. It's useless using Google because Google has something called Project Jigsaw. Project Jigsaw came into place around 2019. After the mass shooting in Las Vegas, Google didn't want this conspiracy stuff churning up into people's feeds. So they hired the Rand Corporation to figure out how to get rid of this stuff. Not delete it, but to how to hide it. So they came up with a list with 5 things. Conspiracies, the 2020 election, MAGA, and UFOs. And there was a 4th one, I can't remember what the hell it was. So these things they hide it at scale. And at scale means they just hide them on the fly. So my channel's hard to find. A lot of UFO channels are hard to find because when this happened, you can't find it in a Google search and you can't find it in a YouTube search. Most people know that YouTube search is complete garbage and it shows mainstream media results. So that's kind of what happened, and the UFOs get siloed off. So trying to find them and then group them together is a difficult task. So let's get into, okay, we're going to do it this way. Let's get into this control piece first. So let's see, we do have the NVR up. It's running. I'm not doing too much with it, but we're here to look at some media. So on the 4th of July, I did a podcast last Friday, and then after that, I did about 2.5 hour live podcast of fireworks. A drone did show up about halfway into the 4th of July live cast, so if you skip ahead about a half hour, a drone showed up on the radar camera. And I was filming towards Gilbert, so it showed up somewhere around there. And then I had this other UFO depth camera. It's a Daewoo 50232. It has 32 optical power, so I thought, I got to get this on it. This was really, really good test. Now, if you got something sitting there, how fast can you get all your stuff on it? So, great test. I got the UFO camera on it, zoomed in about 30 power. It's on the live feed from last Friday. So I went through and saved all that stuff. So I went through, I pulled that up. So this is a control piece that we're going to look at a drone from the 4th of July. There's no audio, so I'm going to talk over this. So what you're looking at is treetop level. I'm facing east, and you're seeing a drone here basically doing racetrack patterns. There's fireworks going off. This video's about 2 minutes long. We're going to look at this first. So that way we can say we know what a drone looks like. Everybody knows what a drone looks like. They typically and legally, you got to have some lights on to be up at night. They are not supposed to be up over 400 feet. But, you know, people do whatever. And, you know, it's kind of dumb doing crazy stuff with a drone that's illegal on 4th of July when everybody's looking at the sky that night. So anyway, this thing's flying around. It comes to a hover at some point, and then I ended up zooming in on it. Now, this is the clean shot of the drone. And by clean, I mean there's no heads-up display in the screen. The other shot of it is the exact same thing, but there's a red targeting box. And it shows you the azimuth, the elevation, the zoom, focal, where I'm zoomed in, and all that stuff. So this zoom sits here and hovers. And we're still going. And it looks like it's a solid green. I ended up zooming in on this guy. And I think it was in the next clip. I don't know if I have that one queued, but it had a red and a green flashing light on this drone. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at colors. We're looking at behavior of the object. We're studying that because it's a drone that somebody has up to watch fireworks. Now look at it, how it went from solid light to a blinking light. And look at the pulse. 1,000 off, 1,000 off, 1,000 off, 1,000 off, 1,000 off. It's doing something that's probably built in the drone. I don't think it's a custom job. A custom job would be putting your own lights and servos and whatnot on it. So that is the drone clip right there. So there's our control piece. Now, I'm going to show you a clip that Kris sent the group here, and we're going to look at that. The reason I was telling you about the order of operations here in the drone footage is because it's going to change how you think. And since I showed you the drone footage first, I planted the seed of what you're going to see in this clip. So this was shot by Kris Donald, I believe this week at night. There's an object that shot up that's green and it's flashing. On 1,000 on, off, 1,000 on, off, 1,000 on, off. So it's doing almost the same pulse that the drone that we saw that was filmed in Gilbert did. That drone had a solid light and then it turned into a green. So this one looks like it, yeah, what the fuck is right, what he said. Where's the red light? How come we don't see a red light flashing with it? I would say comparable. I would say comparable. This looks pretty much like that drone we saw in Gilbert. Oh, look, there's an airplane under it. So this thing is up by an airport. We're not giving away where Kris lives. He lives somewhat in the proximity to an airport. And this drone should not be in the air at the time these aircraft are taking off and landing. There's another aircraft that flies over. And then it goes down and it lands. So what the hell do we have here? This is the first time of many of the videos that Kris has had where we have a blinking object. He filmed a number of these recently. I don't think he's seen these for a while. If you watch my last podcast where I did an interview with him, he goes through all these sightings. He first started seeing these objects when he moved into his new house. He sees different things. He recorded these orbs that we played last year. So I think this is the first time that he's seen any of this stuff for the calendar year 2025. So all this other stuff was 2024. So 2025, these start showing up so often, I'm ready to run up to his house, right, and record them myself. Go after whatever these are. Problem is, you go up there, you don't see anything. It's hot as hell here. It cools down to about 103. Then you leave. Let's segue off here for a minute, but when you go over to someone's house and they expect a sighting, it never seems to happen when you're there. And then when you leave, the next night shows up. It happened to me with television shows that come over and they say, you're going to film this red UFO Bubba tonight. Didn't show up with the TV crew. TV crew films, leaves. Next night, Bubba shows up. So I'm thinking, that might be a way to trigger an event. You go over to someone's house, you leave, nothing will happen. Then you leave the next night showing up. That's something I want to pass along that you only get from UFO experience. So there is what was up with his drone there. So what I did now is we're going to take a look at these split screened side by side. The drone from July 4th with what Kris recorded too. On the right is the video from Kris Donald. On the left is the drone that I had filmed on July 4th. What the fuck? Looks like the other one's out of view. But you get the idea. That is a damn close match of what he filmed with what was a drone. So you can say, well, now if you make a question, that was a bird. You'd still call him a bird or a balloon. But if it's a one-off and that's it, you say, okay, Kris caught a drone. And you know what? None of us care. We don't really care if it's a UAP or a drone or bird or balloon. We're just collecting the evidence, analyzing it, reporting on what we found. So I'll have a dog in the fight. Now, when you start looking at the other video Kris has, then you're going to kind of say what he does. You know, what the F? You know, how? Okay, like let's just get this started. Now, let's just say they're drones, right? Now, does that explain this?
Yes.
This was Kris's first sighting. He saw a green and a blue light on top of this mountain. He lased it, and it shined on him back. Now, how did the drone do that? When we started this investigation, we were looking at this as safety lights in the ground. Okay, so I think Dan bought some. I bought some. We went out, and Dan and I took our time and walked up that hill and tried to replicate what you see. So the working theory at the time is, if this is not UAP, then it's just some person with the safety light. But wait a minute, that other footage says they were drones. Well, which is it? Safety light and drones? I don't know. Who the hell flies a drone at the top, down at 3 foot like what we're seeing? Let's continue. Here he has one hovering in front of him about 60 feet away. Where is the drone? You cannot, this is close enough to see if this is a drone, and there is no plastic at all to be seen on that. None. There's no person there. There's nothing. How is this a drone? How is this green thing, and there was a blue one with it, that it could be a person walking down the hill? That's what we thought initially. How is that a drone hovering? Who the F flies a drone down in the weeds and stuff? None of this makes any sense. The more you learn about this, the more confusing it gets. Now, so if you watch this, if I started with these clips instead of the last one that was flying around blinking, you'd be, oh, these are weird. But if I start with the one that looks like a drone, and then you see these, that's why I didn't know what order to start these in. So how is that a drone? Where's the drone? Where's the blades? Where's the landing gear on it? Where's the red and green blinking light? What drones have blue lights? This one he lased. We call this one the portal. And
Oh my God.
it shows back a gray face about the size of a garage. Here's the blue one again that's motion stabilized by myself. And again, if these are drones, what kind of drone is that? What kind of drone looks like a blue light bulb that flies around without any propellers? Where's the batteries at? Where's the camera on this drone? Like Kris says, what the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck? So, what do you guys think? Leave some comments. So far, are you leaning on UAP? UAP's got to be at last. Are you leaning on this is a drone? These are safety lights. These are safety lights and a drone. I remember when we did this investigation a year ago. I was fat as fucking meatloaf, couldn't walk worth a shit, and they bring these videos over here and asked me to analyze them, and I did the best I could. I had no idea what we were looking at, so we did a ground investigation, went to Kris's house, and his wife let us come over and do an investigation there. We were looking at these videos, and we were thinking, it's inconclusive. They could be safety lights, they may not be. If only, and I know Dan, this is what Dan's thinking, if only we had video of them flying above the tree lines, above the hills. Kris comes up with those videos. Again, what the fuck? Now it's even more confusing. It would be better if he didn't have them flying around and we can keep the theory of it just some dudes walking around the ground with some lights. Now he's got them flying up and down and going into the ground. Who the hell lands a drone going right into the ground? And like Kris says, they only go up for 5-10 seconds. That's it. He barely gets any captures of them. And again, he goes outside to smoke a cigarette. A lot of sky watchers are cigarette smokers. I'm a former cigarette smoker, quit 25 years ago. Or they have a puppy that they walk. So if you have a puppy and you smoke Marlboros, you got twice the opportunity to see UFOs for some reason, just because you're outside. So I don't know. We wanted him to get some footage, hopefully, of these things flying above the ridgeline, and Kris delivers just that. And then it's like, well, where are we at here? How is this possible? It still could be man-made, but I don't know. After looking at all this, I don't know what the hell to think. Yeah, you have to. When Kris and I talked about this, when you shoot it, it's personal. You're biased. You have that confirmation bias that you think it's your stuff, and then the next guy comes along, will look at it, will give you a pretty objective view of it without having the baggage, without being biased, and he could just say, wholesale what he thinks the thing is. That thing, whatever that is, we thought was a cactus. It kind of looks like a letter 4. And when he lasers it, it goes through the middle of like the letter 4 and then hits it. And then when he bounces off, the laser bounces off, he shuts it off. The entire thing glows, right? To do that, that thing is like taller than me. And I'm like freaking tall. And that's way up there. And when we walked around, there's nothing there. Whatever he lased didn't exist. There's no cactuses there. There's no trees. There's nothing to account for whatever he stopped that light on. No, his backyard is basically... I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to dox his location. It's just a hill. It's just a hill where people who live in the community, if they want, they can go for a walk. It's treacherous, though. There's a couple of small paths, but you got to walk out because there's holes in the ground that you'll step in. There's big 1-foot size rocks everywhere. So you have to have a flashlight shining down on the ground to watch your step so you don't end up in the hospital. Yeah, rest in peace, Meatloaf. Let's get back to work and get back on these clips. Yeah, let's roll it. So this is the blue light. This is the closest orb that I've seen that I can play you guys. I could have only imagined what would happen if this video got into the hands of Jeremy Corbell, how he would milk this. It'd take 6 years sitting on his computer until he showed anyone. Here is the object enhanced in 4K. Again, it's slowed down to about half speed. I don't know what those flashing are. The flashing happens on his iPhone, and that flashing of the entire image happens on his Psionics when he's filming these. I don't know why that's going on. If it's feedback from the UAP or the object, that's anybody's guess. But again, where is the drone? Where is the DJI looking thing, the landing gear, the blades, the battery? Where's the mandatory lights at night? We see none of that in these footage. What we see is just what you see here, just a light that flies around. It has no means of propulsion that you could see. I mean, we're all smart people. None of us are stupid. We're all pretty bright. And we can't figure this out. People have told Kris, why don't you run up and get it? Well, this thing can, what we've seen, he's got additional footage. This blue orb is not set in stone blue. This could be green, this could be red, yellow. These change colors. These change colors to colors that you don't see on drones. So whatever this is, I've learned that it's, it can change colors. So if this is truly UAP, a blue orb is not a blue orb. A blue orb could be a change color into a red orb. You just keep watching. You'll see soon enough. So this is a little bit hypnotizing watching this. So there's the end of that clip. And move into the next one here. So it's just kind of hovering, not perfectly, but it's hovering there. I could stabilize the background. All right, so what we have here is we have new footage. So before, when I opened this up with a 4th of July drone, and then what Kris had filmed, and then you probably think, yeah, bro, just a drone. You just misidentified. What is all that shit on the ground, at ground level? How's somebody, where's the person flying the goddamn drone to begin with? You have to own a piece of property or have a key to get in the area that he's in. It's locked up. Where's the drone operator? You got to have line of sight of a drone. Anybody who flies them knows. If you try to fly a drone 2 to 3 feet over the ground, up and down a hill, you're crashing that drone. Another question people ask us. Did we put drones after them? Clive Christopher, excellent filmmaker, friend of mine, colleague, part of our skywatching group. He lost a drone in the area. I wasn't there when it happened. Dan, Arizona Motherlode, he's in the chat. I remember Dan has a more modern drone. I got a 2015 or 16 DJI old one. The one you have to turn around and do the dance and the put down. It takes like 5 minutes to launch. He has one in, I think it has a transponder, and he said he was getting warnings from an airport nearby. If I remember that right. He can chime in on that if he's still watching. So what the hell kind of drones are these that don't have a body? Where do you put the battery? I don't know. Let's see what you guys think. Who knows? I mean, that's cats, cars, and aliens. That's a good question. Nevada, New Mexico, and Arizona are sparsely populated areas of land compared to the East Coast. The East Coast has way, way more people, so you would think if the UFO sightings were the same, you'd have the same or more sightings. That's a good question. I don't know. We're kind of boxed in, the group of us looking at this, and we think, bounce stuff off each other to show the public. What do you guys think of this? I don't know, but let's get into the next one. Let's get into his next clip here. A blue one. So here was the blue one, or is it purple? It's up flying. And this is what me, Dan, and I know Clive wanted. Let's see one of these that's not down at ground level. Well, here's a 2025 capture of just that. So I did some processing on the video. I think, okay, this is a different one. And then, yeah, short flights. Cool. It goes, who flies the drone just for a minute or two? And there's no red and green blinking. These things aren't blinking. It's a solid light. All of them were solid lights except for the recent clip. There's a red one they got on psionics. Here's one he's got in the daytime. Okay, now here's a recent one that happened, I think, this week. This is the original video. This is the same video, but stabilized on the green object. Same video. Let's see. And that green one going into the ground. I got my mic off again, damn it. This one I stabilized the tree. Looks purple one this time. Never seen a drone with purple lights on it. This is a replay of the green one that blinks.
What the fuck? You were right.
So there you have it. I don't know what all this means. I don't. We can go at the pros. We can go in the cons and some of this. Some of the things. The last particular video looked like it could be a drone. So it could be. But what about those other videos? When you binge watch the whole thing, a drone doesn't explain this. A drone doesn't explain the green and the blue thing that he lased on top of the hill. It doesn't explain the blue thing that was hovering in front of him for a minute. It doesn't explain the blue and green thing. You guys haven't seen all this, but it was about, I think, a 5 or 10 minute video where they come down the mountain. He lasers that thing. He tries to laze those lights. They don't respond back. But when he lased whatever that one thing was, it lit up, looked like a gray head, and went away. Drones, there's no way, because they look like maybe it was somebody moving down the hill. So is this just some dudes with the safety lights and a drone? Maybe. That's possible. Doesn't make any sense, though. Is this UAP? That's possible, too, because we're past the point, way past it. Are UFOs real? Well, fuck yeah, they're real. Now we're trying to figure out what's what. What all types are they? Whose are they? Where are they coming from? Where are they going to? What's the point of this? Is it possible that that last one, that green one, was imitating an orb that was flashing to blend in? Because I've seen stuff in the daytime that pretends it's a grocery bag or pretends it's a balloon. Then you zoom in on it. It seems to have some type of thing like, you know how there's radar lock and aircraft can tell that they've been pinged and they got a radar lock on them? Well, I think there's camera lock. I think there's such a thing. We don't have the technology yet, but we will someday, where you know you're being watched and recorded. I don't know. Just theorizing. If you were to show that on Ancient Aliens, that guy would come up with so many weird bullshit ideas of what this could be. So we were hoping to get videos of Kris filming these orbs of the things above the ground. We got it. That just made it more confusing. He's got them turning different colors. At no time do we see anything that looks like a drone. That except for the last time that it matches the optical characteristics of a drone. But when he gets them on camera, and other times it doesn't match it at all. So I'm kind of, that's what Kris has, a lot of footage for one guy. I remember back in the 90s, MUFON would say, if somebody films a UFO twice, it's bogus. Because UFOs are so rare that you'll only get to see them once in your lifetime. And if you get to see them twice and you recorded them twice, something's wrong with the person, something's wrong with the UFO case. And that makes some sense for most part. But what if you're in a hot spot? What if you're where UFOs like to frequent? Then you chuck that theory right at the door. The problem is they set that shit in stone like the MUFON 10 Commandments. Commandment 1, you shall not see a UFO more than once. And MUFON is typically made up of fucking old people. And there's nothing wrong with old people. I'm old now. Old people have the wisdom of things that the younger people don't get. They get cynical, they get smarter. Look at Yoda. Yoda was a real person, by the way. So Dan saying, nope, no fly zones have come up. I thought I remember you saying something about something with the transponder in the airport. But if that's what happened, that's what happened. I don't know what a piezo reaction is. If you could explain that. Sounds cool. What? Okay, this is in Scottsdale. What? First of all, it's reckless to fly this stuff around any aircraft at all. You're really goddamn stupid. If that's a drone, let's just, for the sake of argument, and you're flying that around Deer Valley Airport or Scottsdale Airport, Mesa, Falcon Field, Goodyear, Sky Harbor, they're gonna probably, you could go to jail. I mean, that's reckless. Would you want to be in a plane and some dude's down there with his toys flying them around? You go fly them around somewhere else. This is the desert. Don't fly them around airports. I mean, this is like Ryan Gray said, this is a safety problem. There's a real possibility that past airline disasters where airlines crash and it doesn't make any sense, they hit UAP, government doesn't know, and they just say, well, it's an accident. They covered up. You know, TW-800, I think that one that looks like a missile shot it down could be there. Hey, Larry, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Who Riders Dog, I think you do here. I hope everybody, yeah, showing some weird stuff. The Hill is, yeah. Dan. We're one of us in our group. Expertise leaves off. The next guy picks it up. Dan is really good. Dan is really good with minerals and geology of the Arizona desert. And if you want to find gold, his name is Arizona Mother Toad, for fuck's sake. If he doesn't know where it is, who does? Who does? I mean, how do you think he gets all of his money? Shit. Very interesting flight path. I don't know. I was just like, show you guys. Maybe you guys have something similar. Maybe you guys know something similar. I think just in the 30 episodes that I've done 4K Skywatching podcast, I put out more stuff than you'll ever see on the History Channel in a few hours. They take just a couple of frames and milk the fuck out of that. Hey, let's see. Tom, I got dozens of videos of military helicopters and cargo planes with what I call fast movers trailing them. Have you ever seen that following an aircraft? No, not me. My brother did. My brother says he twice has seen the Bugosphere. He didn't know, when he saw the Bugosphere, he's like, oh, that's, they got a name for it? Twice he has seen military cargo airplanes take off from the west side of Sky Harbor Airport, and behind him was the Bugosphere. And he's saying, Tom, it was the same thing. It's happened twice. And also, I haven't showed you guys the video, but a viewer sent in a video he recorded on June 2nd, 2025, of what looks kind of like a sphere on the other side of Sky Harbor Airport over Tempe Lake. So those spheres or whatever, yes, they're close to airports. So maybe a good place to skywatch is around airports. Maybe. Secret Mountain, isn't that in Sedona? Next to, I think they call it like Secret Mountain, Military Base Mountain. I think that's how they name them on the map. No one would know. Let's see, let's get into what's going on next. Oh, lucky Florida. Yeah. Never got to go to Florida. I was supposed to go to Florida this year, but my wife has heart problems, so I can't leave the house and leave her alone. Somebody's got to watch over her. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. So I don't know how that works with the modern drone. I think my drone's probably illegal because it doesn't have any new stuff. But, you know, here's what I think's going to happen, and this is pretty grim. I think what we're seeing in the war, I don't like getting politics, but what's going on in the Ukraine and the war with Russia, I think that's a precursor of what to come in the future is going to be, because they're using drone warfare now, and they're putting explosives on the drones and flying them right into people. They're putting explosives on them and flying them into tanks. That's probably the future of war, is the very, very expensive F-22 and F-35 look pretty, they're cool, fly nice, but they'll probably never really see combat. Combat is most likely going to come in drone format with plastic explosives on them. What happened in New Jersey, we're going to get to that a little bit later, but what happened in New Jersey with the so-called drones could have been a test that these things come out of the water from a submarine, they have explosives on them, and you send thousands of these at once at a target, there's no way to take them out. We're totally defenseless against that. I mean, just think of targeted assassinations. We're always worried, like the Super Bowl has a no-fly zone. You can't fly over the Super Bowl. People always ask UFOs to land at the Super Bowl. Well, how are they going to do with the no-fly zone? Well, with these drone problems now, you could have thousands of these take off and with explosives and just fly in there and blow up all the celebrities. We were probably going to see that in our lifetime. We're probably going to see somebody take some of these drones and fly them after the President of the United States, whoever that might be, and then what Secret Service going to do? Well, if you have 1,000 of these things swarming in on you, I mean, you're fucked. You're fucked. And so there goes drones. Drones will be illegal. I mean, I think it's a matter of time until the war comes home. Until what we see overseas and think we're protected by the ocean comes to America, and then here it is. Now we have drones flying around. Instead of worrying about mass shooting in malls and schools, get mass killings from drones. It's probably in the future. It sucks because drones are a great photography tool, man. It's probably what's going to go on with that. So we have portion 1 down of Kris's videos. I don't know what to think. We first thought, to recap, that this could be, maybe let's try and eliminate, that this is people walking around with camping lights. I know I talked to Dan, Easy Motherload, talked to Kris, talked to Clyde. That was our working theory that could explain this. Now we have them flying. He's shown us video of them flying, changing colors. The safety light I have is blue. The other one's green. The blue one don't turn green and white. Now you could get LEDs that do that. How you get them to fly? How you get them to fly with no housing around them, no battery pack, no camera? What the fuck? Like Kris says. I don't know. This is a hell of a puzzle. We're going to move into the next section. Other orbs. I skywatch, but I also look for other people. I look through other people's videos. I look online for stuff. I study other people's stuff. Dan has some really cool videos. He was on, I think, episode 6, 4K Skywatching, where he skywatches in a helicopter. Now think about it. Who the fuck skywatches in helicopters? Dan Starsky does. And he films the same type of stuff you see on Skinwalker Ranch of, we don't know what they are, of unknown objects flying in and out of mountains. So I took his footage, upped it, I think it was a 1920 1080 resolution HD, pumped that up to 8K. Going to take a little more study into that, crop that, and we're going to look at that in the future. He also flew around the Bradshaw Ranch and had some, I might as well talk about that before I forget about it. Dan and Kris did a trip from Scottsdale area up to Sedona, flew around Bradshaw Ranch and some other places Dan wanted to check out, and flew back. They shot some thermal video. They shot some color video. They shot some GoPro video. So they got a bunch of stuff to look through. I'm not sure the resolution of that. If they need me to look through it, we can look through it. But what happened, unique, that stands out at least, as they had some equipment malfunctions that are just like what you see on Skinwalker Ranch. If you're watching Skinwalker Ranch in season 6, which I'm on, it's the newest one, they have GPS go out. So they will go over an area and the GPS stops working. It doesn't, okay, now this doesn't make any sense when you're locked onto 19, 20 different satellites. You're in the middle of the desert. You have nothing blocking you, a clear sky, and 19 satellites drop signal. Dan had this happen multiple times. So I was thinking maybe where the drops happen are areas of interest to check out. Maybe these are the phenomenon saying, hey, you bugged out some gear here. This is where you should be looking of all places around Sedona. Look here. And of course, it's in an area where people look. That's an area I'm thinking about putting the 4K owl camera. Not sure if you legally can do that or not. I need to put the goddamn thing somewhere. So anyway, same type of thing on Skinwalker Ranch. After like 600, 700 hours of 6 seasons, they have maybe 4 UAP videos in 6 years. And the rest of it is, well, that's weird. That's weird too. And fucking batteries dying and shit. GPS malfunctions, equipment malfunctions. Most of what I see on Skinwalker Ranch is the elevation of above sea level malfunctions, and it drops. Where that's the biggest malfunction that I see in totality of Skinwalker Ranch. What I'd like to see is for them to bring in some other guys and see if their stuff malfunctions too, or if it malfunctions off the property. I don't know. It's the best science show we have, though, as far as studying this type of phenomenon in a controlled area. But Dan has the same type of stuff on his helicopter trip. So if we went up there, say, biked in, jeeped in, whatever you could do, would we have GPS malfunctions in those same spots? Probably going to find more about that in a future episode of 4K Skywatching podcast, because I know I'm going back there. I got 2 or 3 more Sedona trips in me in 2025 coming up. So I'm trying to schedule the next one coming in for there. Let's get into other media here, other orbs. This is a video. The link is in the description above episode 30, tonight's broadcast, for the original video. What I'm showing you here is just some snippets where I stabilized it. This was shot on Luna Optics. So cool. The guy is using the same binoculars I have. Okay, so I did an episode, maybe 10 back, of an $800 piece of equipment versus an $80 piece of equipment. The $80 piece of equipment was so shitty it didn't even have a name. It just said equipment, right? And everything I filmed was blue. You film an airplane coming at you, blue. International Space Station going over, blue. So this thing will pump out fake blue orb videos, and they're being sold all over Amazon or whatnot for like 60, 80 bucks. They're shit garbage. This does not do that. You point at an airplane, you're going to see the correct colors of that airplane, of that aircraft. So I was kind of had a nice smile. Good. I haven't gotten any UAP on this yet, but this gentleman did, and it's an Oregon, and here's a compilation of his weird double blue orb. So what he is he's looking west out towards the ocean. The date is wrong. This is actually 2022. I don't know what this is. I thought maybe it's a plane, aircraft landing lights coming towards them. I don't know. Fuck it. Another weird video. On this channel, you always see videos here that you will never see anywhere else. You see unique videos here that either I captured or my research friends captured or I find on the internet that are almost impossible to find. I have no idea what that blue orb was either. I looked at it. Since it was a good piece of equipment, I can rule out it was blue shit from gear named gear. Binoculars named binoculars. Right? What is that? Really good orb footage is hard to come by. And what I mean by orb is it's just the light. There's no craft around it. It's not a UAP giving off a light. It's just the light itself is the UAP. When I was on Spaced Out Radio, Rob really liked the Jake Skywatcher chart that they had of different UAPs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own chart of stuff that I've seen, stuff that's been seen around here, and I'm going to do my own chart of stuff, and then we'll see how that compares against other people's, and I can put that up and say, here's the things that we see in this area. For instance, we do not see a cube with the sphere inside of it, or the cube inside the sphere. We don't see that at all on this part of the U.S. That's an East Coast thing. A police officer filmed one of these about 3 blocks away from him at night. Really good video. Tedesco Brothers showed that on a podcast. So really good orb videos of just lights that are hovering are hard to come by. It's going to be much harder because of all those shit cameras for $60. That everything they film was blue. We're going to be just undulated or inundated with shit footage like that. But that's a weird one. So let's go to the next weird orb. Now, these ones, that blue one, I looked into that we just saw. These ones, I don't know. I don't know if these are good or fake, but let's just check these out.
Well, there's my UFO spotting for the month. That's crazy. Yeah, those are not nav lights. What the hell? Obviously can't focus on it like any good UFO video, I guess.
I freeze framed this. So, do you think this is a blue orb like Kris Donald has? Or is this one of those shit pieces of binoculars where everything is blue? Or is this the International Space Station they filmed with them? We don't know.
Alright. Hopefully that's an ICBM going to India or something. Who said that?
Oh my goodness, it's more drone sightings in Miami. Yeah, so like about yay far. Yep, we have the copycats. Oh look.
I'd move over. What? I'll move over. No, the car is going to sit there. It's kind of a weird speed.
Yeah, it is.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No. Oh, I like them. I'm just not. I'm positive. I'm filming this. Look at that. Yeah. I know.
Damn, I gotta quit messing with this mic. I think I said the F word about 50 times though. So the previous one with the two orangish looking lights, those could be Chinese lanterns over Miami. Safe to do it. If you try Chinese lanterns in Arizona, you're gonna burn somebody's house down. It's illegal to put them up. About the only time you do run into Chinese lights is lanterns anyway in Arizona. Phoenix area is in December when it's cooler. There's a Chinese holiday where they put them up sometimes, and that's about the only time we see stuff like that. And yes, Kris needs a tripod. He needs a tripod. He needs a good camera. You need to get him. You know, he's doing a damn good job with just the phone and the psionics. Hell, more gear management. That's possible. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I got to stop messing with the mic. So that was Orb Clip 3. And of course, 15 minutes before the show starts, I'll find a bunch more orbs, but I didn't have time to load the videos into the system. There's 4. This was shot a couple days ago on somebody's camera. I don't know if that's an orb. It kind of looks like that light bar that Steve Barone videotaped over the Las Vegas area. I don't believe that that's ball lightning. That's a weird goddamn capture. It's pretty good. Maryland. And it kind of, it dips up a little bit. It dips up. So it wasn't a meteor because it changed, it slightly changed its course. There's a few other orb videos then to compare with Kris Donald's videos. Now, one thing to note on these orb videos is they're all going the same direction. None of them change directions. Kris's videos don't do that. They constantly change direction. A lot of the videos Kris has, they end slamming into the ground. Maybe that's where they came from. Maybe, if we're lucky, Kris keeps, well, Kris, you got to stop smoking, first of all. Got to stop smoking. Take those little puppies outside instead, and then get more UAP video. Maybe you'll get one just coming straight out of the ground in front of you. I mean, we were hoping for video of them in the sky. And now you've got a bunch of them in the sky. And if you started with them in the sky, we could have been, these were drones. Do you have any of them on the ground? He has videos of them on the ground from 2024. So the next thing let's hope for is let's hope he gets one coming up in front of him out of the ground. You know, closer video. We wanted airborne videos, and we got 4 or 5 of them. So the next wish, we're hoping, is he gets one lighting up in front of him. Man, Ross Coulthart should have took a trip over to his house. It's got amazing stuff. All right, so there's the other orb video. Frame rate. I don't know. On that video, I hope it's that video. Anyway, I've been logging into the FCC website almost every day, waiting for a reply because I know it's going to be on the website before I get something in the mail, and I want to see if what the deal is with the radar. I checked the website; it was changed. Got a reaction, and I got an email. So for those of you who haven't been watching the saga of what the hell I've been doing, This guy here, this dude mentioned radar, I think on like episode 7 or 8 or something like that I was doing. And I thought, yeah, radar, dude. How about radar? So I ended up buying some radar. And I need something to put the radar on, so I bought a military mast. I thought it was going to be like 8 inches around and 30 feet long. Turned out it was 11 inches thick. Goes up 40 or 50 feet. So, yeah, I really went down a goddamn rabbit hole with that. So then I found out after I bought all this stuff that radar is illegal. Like everything in the United States, everything is against the law. You have to have a fucking permit to do anything except buy a gun. Well, they hook you up, but most shit's illegal, right? Kind of sucks, but that's the way it is. If it was a free-for-all, society would suck because everybody would do whatever they want and there wouldn't be any rules. So I'd rather live within the system that we have. I get a response back from the FCC, and let me get that queued up. And here's the letter they got. I've been waiting months for this, so here we go. It says, the Federal Communications Department, attention Tom King, dismissed without prejudice. This refers to the application file number, there's file number, experimental authorization. You are advised that the Commission is unable to grant your application for facilities requested. The Mobility Division is denying this application due to the concern that the requested operation will potentially interfere with vehicular radars in nearby roadways.
That's it, man. Game over, man.
Fucking A.
Responses to this court must contain this reference number. Fuck. So there you go. I got denied. I got flat out denied. But I'm still happy. You know, it's still chugging along. I'm not going to pack up my shit. I'm going to pack it up. It's here. So, typical. I don't know how it would interfere with whatever they're talking about, radar from cars. I don't know if they're talking about red light cameras that would screw with. It's a bunch of shit anyway. I mean, when you drive down the street, we have these electronic speed limit signs that say, here's the speed limit and here's what you're doing. And that thing is sending out some type of vehicle speed radar. And it's constantly hitting everything down the road. It's hitting all the houses that happen to be in the way. This stuff's everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know if it's the location or what. Now, the Tedesco brothers went through this red tape, and they got approved. But they are operating on a beach next to the ocean. So the argument that this is messing with vehicular, whatever the hell it was, probably wouldn't wash. But then again, it's the government, and the government does whatever the hell they want. I was just glad there's somebody still working in the government. Martin Docazet, whatever, Chief Electromagnetic Capability Detection. Now, who knew that there's a federal department where somebody's title is Electromagnetic Compatibility Division? That's a hell of a title. So what do you guys think I should do? Should I try to appeal it? Or should I just say, I don't know. Just got this letter this morning. And the other thing is, on the application, I said that it would be 19 feet up in the air. If it was over 20 feet, then they wanted all these studies and all this. That opened up a can of worms. So I said, no, it'll be under 20 feet. Because then they wanted all this, well, would you be interfering? I don't know. What would happen? I mean, what sucks is this cost $170 to apply. That's what sucks. Because if it was just like 15 or 20 bucks, who cares? Now, if it was 15 or 20 bucks, then we could do what pull a Jake Barber with Dopesar. What Jake Barber did with Dopesar was he wrote a fake manuscript for a book that contained all kinds of UAP type of stuff, and then he fed it to DOPSAR, which is like the Department of Pre-Publication Authorization or something for classified stuff. So they read it and they say if you can talk about this or not. So he gamed the system by finding out what's classified and what's not by feeding them bullshit, and then if they said it's classified, they knew it was real. So if this was cheaper than instead of $170, then I could say, what if it's out at my friend's house at Maricopa, who lives south of Maricopa. He lives right next to the Barry Goldwater gunnery range. He has a couple of neighbors. There's no street lights. It's a gravel road. There's no radar shit. Would they say the same thing? I would love to reapply if it didn't cost $170 to see if they would approve it. Or if it were by the beach. Or to say, hey, I'm a student at ASU. This is for an astronomy class. Because there are things on the application, like, is this for a research university? So I think if I'm just, Johnny on the street, they turn me down. So I'm not going to gamble with $170 pulling the government slot machine, waiting to see where it turns up, because it's going to end up on my damn pole. So that's it. So like I said, when the show started, and it's always been this way, and it's always going to be this way. This is the no bullshit zone. I'm going to tell you the truth, regardless of where we go with it. So I really haven't thought about too much about what the next step is. One of them is a little bit of a backup plan. I can go with the Kraken radar system. I don't need approval from them to do it. The problem with the Kraken system is they no longer can you can't get the software off GitHub because they had problems with the ITAR. But I have friends who have the Kraken system. I could probably get the software from them, right? Yep, buddies. So that's another backup. Another one is, there's a few here. I could take the radar off the pole, and I could point a camera north, south, east, and west, and put a dome camera in the center, and pop that puppy up. And then I pretty much have a view of, instead of just Chandler, like I do now, and a little bit of Gilbert, I have all of Chandler, all of Gilbert, even Apache Junction, and Mesa and Tempe. But that covers huge UFOs I can see. If something the size of the Phoenix Lights huge boomerang comes back, I'll see it. No doubt. But if they're the Bugosphere and they're smaller UAP, then they got to be closer. And you can't see something that far away. I can't see something this big, 6-7 miles over. It's too far for the camera system to pick up. Another option, fuck you and use it anyway, right? Fuck them. The FCC has never yet fined anybody for using radar to look for UFOs. The only two cases that I could find in the database where the FCC went after people is one of them is a small airport where the radar went out. So they said, you know what? I got me radar on my boat. Let's get off the boat and put it up there. So they were using marine radar to land Cessnas at a small airport. Something like let's say, I don't remember where the airport was, but it was a small airport, and apparently it worked. And the pilots got nervous when they found out they were using radar, and they rednecked that shit with marine radar. So what they did is they came in and they fined them $8,000, and they took their shit, took their equipment. So that's what they can do, is they can confiscate your gear, and they can fine you goddamn boatloads of money, painful amount of money. So I could do that, and I could risk it, and then I could do what some of the people do if you get caught. You run to GoFundMe and you cry, help, I fucked up, I need it, bail out. That's another opportunity. Another thing is risk it. Probably wouldn't be caught. I think about this, and you guys probably do too. Why doesn't Lou Elizondo just run his mouth and let himself get arrested? And then when he gets arrested, finally it's on CNN headline news. A guy gets thrown in the hole for spilling UFO secrets. The Barbra Streisand effect takes place. That if you want people not to know about something, you don't go out and arrest the person and broadcast it. What Lou said is real. So then I would have to be Lou in this case, and willing to get, not arrested, but willing to get just completely hosed by the government. And then the Streisand effect hopefully would happen and say, look, they find this guy using marine radar because he's looking for UFOs. He said he found UFOs and they shut him down, which brings more fucking attention to this. And the amount of attention, which I don't make any money off this shit, hopefully I could get some dude to help me monetize and pay for the fucking fines. So yeah, I haven't really thought this through yet. I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I'd really love to get fucked up and think about this. But maybe you guys can get fucked up for me and think about it. So let's see what the brain trust here. Research. Toss the letter. Yeah, it's easy to say toss the letter. I'll be talking to you on the phone a little bit about what's going to happen. I don't know. Police radar. The Tedesco brothers are using a modified police radar, but that only works if you, I guess, have line of sight and you're outside. It's 118 degrees. I'm in here in the air conditioning at between 80 and 70, 84 degrees and 74 degrees sky watching, so that's not going to work. Hey, John. Yes, thanks. You're new to the channel. I forgot to say, anybody new, hit that like button. Post this shit on Twitter. Post this wherever you post. Blue Sky, whatever the hell. Let people know that there's real-time ufology happening. I don't sit on shit for 6 years like Corbo. As soon as we get stuff and it's relevant, we put it out. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Yeah, see, that's the thing. If I'm going to appeal, I need to do it quick because they might have dismissed it. And I'm trying to figure. This was so hard to even get where I am now. I couldn't have did it without ChatGPT because the government website that you use, the FCC website, was fucking built in like 1996 and it looks like it. Somehow it still works. You hear about all this government stuff that's running off COBOL. Probably FCC running off that. But anyway, man, I always get sidetracked. If I'm on the pills, I gotta do it now. What's fresh? And say, wait a minute, bro. But what do I say after wait a minute, bro? I don't know. You guys are my human chat GPT. What do I say? What do I say? But I'm not, there's no, vehicular. I don't know. Now, here's a thought. Remember when Ross Coulthart came out with that egg stuff and said you will be shocked and it's going to change the world, and it was fucking hyped to oblivion. And then when it shows up in the videos, it didn't change the world. And then Jake says, yeah, I pick these things up from time to time and drop them off for a place I won't tell you. And we have video, but it's not my video. It's from another helicopter pilot. And he got picked up an egg, and this is his video. Bullshit. That's Jake's fucking video. He just don't want to admit it. I'm speculating here. He don't want to admit it, so he don't end up in Guantanamo. So, what if, let's say, the neighbor, let's say it's a matter of time until I film a UFO again. Weeks, months, matter of time. Let's say I film one, and all of a sudden, some anonymous person donates radar footage. Not mine. But someone else is out there using radar, and they caught it. Same time, fuck it. Worked for News Nation. Worked for Jake Barber. That dude's got more money than me. He's got helicopters. And I have ones that fall out, I lose. He has hundreds that fall out, he loses. So he's got more money. So those are kind of the options. So at least I know. At least kind of the whole radar project has come to a head now. So I can figure out what to do with it. Do I want to sell it? Keep it? Take it mobile and use it underground and go Snake Plissken Skywatcher? Could do that. Yeah. I've been known to say fuck it. That's real easy when you didn't send them your address of where the shit's located, and they wanted the emission numbers, the gigahertz and all that. You could find somebody using radar with the Kraken. You could find that. Maybe Doge needs to now go fire everybody from the FCC so there's no one to go around and bust me. What did he? Yeah, fuck him. No. Yeah. Well, think of this. If this interfered with cars in Long Beach, huge port in Texas, Miami, there's like 10 trillion boats there with radar. Then you got the East Coast, Baltimore, all those places. Wouldn't Miami alone, with all those boats, just shut everything down? Right? All their whatever they have on land, it would have. And since it's a peninsula that's not very wide, that should fuck all Florida up with all those boats. You think anything that's vehicular radar would not work? It just sounds like somebody drank coffee, going, "This fucker's crazy." Denied. No, this fucker's crazy. Denied. Government. I don't know. We'll see. There are some experiments There are some experiments with the radar I want to do first, but that's where we got with the FCC. So that was officially radar. Rest in peace. Officially. Then again, I don't always do official shit. Let's move on to some UFO news that's going on. Let's see here. All right. So we got good old Ross Coulthart is all over the fucking place. This guy, the only thing I could say right now is this guy is completely overexposed. He's all over the place. If you ask coworkers about ufology, they'll tell you about Ross. They'll tell you about George Knapp. They'll tell you about Corbell. They'll tell you about Grush. But the rest of us, they don't know about us. There's no other researchers except Ross Coulthart. And he does pretty much a pretty good job. He looks at cases no one else will. So he's way overexposed. And then the other guy, of course, is Jeremy Corbell, who's overexposed, but Jeremy loves it that way because that's how he makes his money. Jeremy releases videos that he sits on for 4 and 5 and 6 years. If he gets something today, you won't see that till 2029, 2030, until he needs another car payment or whatever. A lot of people don't know that Jeremy, I've seen him in person. Jeremy's only 4 feet tall. He's only 4 feet tall. I just looked down. I saw the top of his head when I saw him at MUFON. He's very, very short. He was up for the role in Game of Thrones, but Peter Dinklage got his role. Jeremy's actually shorter than you see. He uses a ladder to climb into a Cybertruck, and he suffers from short man Napoleon's disease. You know these guys that drive around in these diesel F-350s? See this big goddamn trucks pull into some place. Then the dude gets out, and he hops out and falls out, and it's like some real short dude. Man, it's Jeremy. That's why he got that Cybertruck. Makes tons of money, completely overexposed. Now, if there's a good UFO story out there, which of these two will cover it? Ross or Jeremy? The money is on Ross because Ross talks to the little people. And he has, his contract with News Nation that he always has to uncover new stuff and keep the eyeballs on the News Nation channel because the money is made by the commercials. Jeremy, on the other hand, is all Jeremy all the time. It doesn't matter what the story is. He thinks he's part of it. I'm surprised he hasn't inserted himself into the Roswell crash. The stuff that Jeremy puts out is governmental property that the taxpayers pay for. Did you ever notice that he never really promotes other people's footage? Because he can't make any money off it because he doesn't own the viewership of the copyright. So he's all about himself and himself and I. As far as ufology is going, this is never ending. There is no fucking disclosure. I'm sick of that word. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of the word cooked. I'm sick of the word disclosure because it ain't happening. The government is never coming out and telling us about any of the shit willingly. You got to force it out of them. And Jeremy admitted he has like 30 to 50 videos, and he could just put them all out now, make a huge splash and say, look at this video and this one and this one and this one ties to this one and so on. But he doesn't do it. He meters this shit out, and he just gives out, well, here's one. And then that maybe 3-4 months later, when he needs more money, here's another one, and he makes his money off social media engagement. I figure he makes between $20,000 and $50,000 every time he does one of these videos. Then he's on News Nation, then he's on this channel and that channel, this channel and that channel and that channel, and just sucks the oxygen out of the room that there are no other ufologists. There's no other research going on except for his drops. If he had the video that Kris Donald has, you wouldn't see that shit for years. And you know what? He likes it that way. I'm convinced that if somebody dropped off alien cadaver of a gray along with a bugosphere, another one, he would Jeremy rush out and say, look what I got? He'd tell George, but we wouldn't hear about that shit at all. The thing that would go across his mind is, how do I make money off this? How do I monetize that dead body? How do I monetize that U.S. bugosphere? That's what Jeremy would do, because that's the type of dude he is. He made himself part of the Bob Lazar story. He made himself part of the alien implant story. He's a shitty director. The films he puts out suck. The only good parts is when he's not in it. But unfortunately, we're stuck with this guy, and he loves the overexposure. It's like no one else is in the room. And then we got this new guy in the image here. This guy. And you probably say, who the hell is this guy? That's what I said. Who in the hell is this guy? So this is Congressman Eric Burleson. And he's new to the UFO scene. What happened to Paulina Luna? Right? So I've talked about this since I started this podcast, that all that disclosure stuff with Congress is political theater. They're pretending that they're going to do something about it. But this guy here, does he look like a guy that could take on the Department of Defense, the Department of Energy, the CIA, the FBI, the National Reconnaissance Organization, the Defense Intelligence Organization, and on and on and on? Fuck no. As soon as Lockheed cuts them a check, they're out of here, man. This is musical chairs of Congress people that just take turns saying, I don't trust the government. Where is my disclosure? And then after him, it'll be some other guy that you never heard of. We don't have any seasoned people in Congress that have been there for like 50 years. Where the fuck is the turtle guy, Mitch McConnell? I'd like to see some UFO disclosure. You know, people with power. These junior level people that just got into Congress, they're nobodies, and they have no power, have no connections, and they're going nowhere. And I think they're bitching because they want a Raytheon check or a Lockheed check. I mean, we're spending $1 trillion a year in the military. I would wager 100 billion, maybe 50 billion, 100 billion goes directly to Lockheed. So like 10% of our checks go to Lockheed, right? That guy ain't gonna fight it. You think some dude talking about disclosure is gonna fight it? No. So when you see these people that say disclosure's happening, disclosure's coming, a grift is coming. This is a never-ending thing. This is about a 30-year mortgage payment, and disclosure will not happen until their mortgages are paid off. So I think people are waking up that this whole thing of next week is never coming. It's never coming. It's up to us to push this ball down the field. Not Ross Coulthart, not Jeremy Corbell, none of these name brand people that are in the UFO circuit. They're on television all the time. How the hell do you even do research when you're on TV like 5 hours a day? I don't know. But it's just a fucking circus with this. The progress I see is being made by people like Kris, people like you guys watching, leakers. Unless we get a Snowden type situation where somebody, I say this new guy, Matthew Brahm, if they leave with a thumb drive like Snowden did, and they have all the goods, and they can blackmail the government from Dubai or some country where they can't grab them, that's the end of the UFO cover-up. Maybe that's disclosure. But it's not happening through any Congress people. It's not happening through any hearings. It's not happening in any committees. It's not happening by getting David Grush in a skiff. That's just wishful thinking, man. That's just people who, they need you to keep watching because there's commercials coming. It sucks. It fucking sucks. 55 years old, and I wish I could figure all this out like you guys. And I know I'm going to end up dying and knowing a lot more about this, but we're not going to have the bodies. They're not going to admit that Roswell happened and they got this stuff. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, but it's easy to bet disclosure isn't happening. You're always right. But the people who are promising this shit, and like Stephen Bassett, he's one. Stephen Bassett, it's time to name names. This guy goes on fucking podcast after podcast after podcast, and he says, disclosure will happen in 3 weeks. And then he goes on another podcast, and nobody says, hey, you were on so-and-so's podcast 3 weeks ago, and you said it's going to happen. Where is it? Will be 3 weeks from today. Same thing. Courtney Brown, another guy. Very interesting guy. Most of the CE5 stuff goes back to Courtney Brown, right? Another guy. Back in December, he was on, I think, Chris Ladle's podcast, and he said it'll happen in 3 weeks in January 2025. Where is it? I'm sure Courtney Brown's still out there remote viewing. So how is remote viewing even real if he can't even get anything? Can't remote view the Powerball numbers. Can't remote view where a gold mine is. Nothing. And then it gets even worse. Okay, last week, Ross Coulthart said that there are people that told Congress that they will be killed, murder, if they come forward, right? Killed. Then he goes on and he says the TicToc is Lockheed Martin technology. And that's the internet kind of blew up over that. The TicToc is Lockheed Martin technology. So it sounds like he's drinking Stephen Greer Kool-Aid. He's drinking heavy doses of that. Because Stephen Greer has been saying it's Lockheed technology. A lot of what Stephen Greer says, Lou Elizondo says kind of the opposite. And if I'm going to go with somebody, I'm going with Lou all the way over those two. Lou is inside the program. Lou has top secret clearance, all that. Greer's a bullshitter. Greer doesn't know what he's talking about. But he's channeling Greer. Ross is channeling the Greer stuff, saying this is Lockheed technology. Then we have Jake Barber. Jake Barber believes Greer because he believes the CEI. He believes the psionics. He believes you can summon UFOs, which I don't. I think it's complete bullshit. So here's the question. How did Jake and his crew summon a Lockheed Martin TicToc? Kind of a logic trap here you're stuck in. Can't happen, right? So you're summoning, which is actually channeling and praying, and someone in Lockheed Martin goes, hey man, they need us. And they get in the propane tank and take off and fly over, and he gets a couple of frames. I filmed the TicToc. It's flown by too. Lockheed Martin's flying by, right? You know, we have this war going on with Israel and whatnot, the Ukraine. Where's this technology? So, and then we have David Fravor. Absolutely not. The TicToc was not Lockheed Martin technology. We had Chad Underwood, the actual person who filmed the TicToc. Nope, he noped out on that. So here's the out, I think, is what's going to happen, because they're kind of stuck. The out of shoveling shit I expect from these people is they're going to take a little bit of both. They're going to say, well, some TicTocs are UAP and NHI, and some of them are Lockheed Martin. So the ones Jake summoned were NHI, and the stuff that Fravor might have seen might have been Lockheed Martin, and they'll say Lockheed Martin has a small, limited supply of these propane tank UFOs. They didn't make them, they found them, or they were given them, or they were recovered from Jake or somebody like Jake in a recovery operation. So they'll watch this. I haven't heard this talking point yet, but watch this come out. where they try and do this, because Greer will just make up stuff. But that really puts them in a conundrum, because they're getting caught in their bullshit. They're summoning what? So it's easy for me to look through the smoke screen of bullshit with these guys, but it seems it's a little bit demoralizing. You know, I got this radar stuff. I spent some money on it. It's no big deal. I can sell it and get some of the money back. I could use it on guerrilla operations. It's no big deal. It's just money. You don't take that with you. But at least I'm living my life as an honest man telling the truth. Now, if you want to go to the top, you want to be a big ufologist, you got to be a shock jock. You got to be the UFO Howard Stern, the Stephen Greer, say bombastic, over-the-top shit. Like when they asked Ross was on with, I think, Bryce, and he asked him, what's your source? I can't tell you. But I kind of wish he wouldn't have brought it up, but that's what journalism is. You report on the situation even if you don't like it. You just have to report on it. If you start gatekeeping, saying, well, I don't want the people to know that, the Lockheed thing, you tell it anyway. So I'd like to know what kind of sources are we talking about here? People with hands-on, or people who heard a thing. I don't know. Ufology is going to keep going on anyway. But the top people, some of them are truthful and some of them are just full of shit, but it's obvious there's a lot of money to be made off this. And all the guys at the top, look at their subscriber numbers. Like Greer has almost 1 million subscribers, and that alone pays the bills. So it's frustrating. You know, we're all people down here doing ground research, and we see the stuff that we're doing, each other, but it'll never be on News Nation. It'll never be out in the mainstream, because these guys got to make some money off of it. If they can't make money off of your shit, they're not interested. Your evidence isn't worthy. They'll forget about it. So, yeah, a little bit of a Debbie Downer at the end of this, but stuff's still happening. I'll still keep doing what I'm doing. I still have trips that I plan on going to Sedona and put that area under better surveillance. I wish some of the people that live there put it under surveillance. I was watching the news this morning on Channel 3, and they had a live camera in Sedona, perfectly clear, on somebody's house. And I'm like, whose live camera is this? How do we get access to this live camera, the news? I want to call them and find this out. Maybe we can get... Who in Sedona allows a live camera to film them from the news all the time? You walk outside, the news is watching you. I want to see that live camera for ufological reasons. So there's a live camera already there. Those houses up there, about $1 million a piece. It would be nice to put the owl camera on there, but I wouldn't let somebody put the owl camera on my property, because I ain't gonna have some third party watching me outside, in my shorts, swimming or building shit. Is what it is. Ufology's hard. We're in this for a long, long time to even get crumbs of information. So that's a wrap of what happened on this episode, number 30, 4K Skywatch. And Kris Donald has some of the weirdest and strangest videos I've seen in a long, long time. And I've seen thousands and thousands of videos. I can't explain what he has. It's not as simple as a drone. It's not as simple as some camping lights. I don't know. Further investigation is warranted for that. I'm very happy he went on the record and he shared all this footage with all of us. So remember, when you're out there shooting, you're not shooting for yourself. You're shooting for the entire world. The world is watching your footage. Somehow we'll get it out there. So I want to just do a wrap up. Thank people came in. Thanks Truth Seeker for coming by. T Fox, thanks for staying loyal and watching the channel. Cheeky Bastard was here. I don't know if you're still around. Cars and Aliens, thanks for coming in here. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't. Analog Kid is here. Yeah, some people are saying, hey, fuck it, use the radar anyway. I don't know. If I did, I wouldn't admit it. So, let's see. Larry Potter. I think, Larry, you sent me some footage from Mesa, if I remember you right. And you had a few interesting things to study. Wood Dog is here. You're new to the channel. Qbert is another UFODAP nerd like me. Good to see you around here. It's good to exchange information. If you guys want to be on the show, send me an email. We'll hook you right up. You don't have to have UFO video to be on here. If you want to come on here and discuss what I'm doing in 31, 32, 33, because we don't know what the fuck is going to happen. A lot of times I don't even know what's going to be on the show until Wednesday or Thursday, and then stuff just pops up. And if you want to come on and be, just comment on stuff, be on camera, shoot me an email, redmec928 at Gmail, and we'll see what happens. Nick Pope's actually a nice guy. I met him. I used to not like Nick Pope when I saw him, and I realized I was looking in the mirror. I don't like me, and I'm pushing it on Nick Pope, for example. And then I kind of got to the conclusion, you know what? I think I'm just jealous he has a good gig, and he has some experience. He's a reasonable guy, kind of level-headed. He's not too woo. He's not too nuts and bolts. He's kind of Goldilocks in the middle researcher. But I've came around on him. I'm open-minded, willing to change some of the things I'm working on. I got to get that Nellis footage done. That's another piece of footage I'm working on. I booted that up to 8K. I cleaned it up. It's the cleanest Nellis footage you ever see. I just got to edit that together. So we'll see you guys next week, I hope, on episode 31. I don't know what the hell it's going to be. It's not going to be about radar for a while. So at least we know about that. It'll be on whatever's up and coming. I'm hoping to get up to Sedona in 3 weeks, but I got eye surgery in 3 weeks. And then I got 3 weeks of recovery time where I'm not supposed to be outside in the sun. And I also want to talk about, I also want to bring up UFO glass. There's a special type of glass. Now, I don't know if it's real. It's new. It's some kind of, maybe it's nuke or whatever. But some type of glass that if you use it, you could see UFOs that are cloaked from what we're seeing in our reality right now. There's a couple videos I've seen of these. There's glasses, I think they cost about $600 that you could put on, and apparently you could see people's auras. I'm trying to remember what the hell the name of that thing was. They might be UV related, and I don't think I should be using UV if I'm getting cataract surgery. But there was something like that, and I think maybe it was Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. One of these shows, I think, tested these at the Bradshaw Ranch or something like that. We need to get Dan on here and talk about what he's doing with his helicopter trips over the Bradshaw Ranch. He's got some interesting research on that. And this is like poor man Skinwalker Ranch. What we're doing this right out of our house with our own money and our own blood and treasure. Thank you, Analog Kid. You're very welcome. I'm Tom King. This is 4K Skywatching. We'll see you guys hopefully on episode 31. It's been a fun Friday night. We'll see you guys next